these a little bit more frequently now. Here with us today, we have Dan Kapelovitz, if I said that right.
Kapelovitz.
Dan Kapelovitz.
Vote for Kapelovitz just for the hell of it, is how you can remember
it. So he's running for governor of California in the recall race, is it 45 other candidates?
Yeah, except for one of them dropped out, Doug Osee, because he had a heart attack. So technically it's 45 left, but he's still on the ballot. So
that's unfortunate. Hope he recovers.
Yes.
So you're running for governor. Let's go a little bit into your history. So right now you're a lawyer, but before that you were the editor at Hustler magazine. What did that entail?
I was a features editor. There's like many editors, but it basically, I was in charge of all the articles that, people supposedly didn't read. I don't know if they read. I think they read them, but we did serious journalism, serious articles. We fact checked everything. We really, took pride in our journalism and our articles. Some of the stuff was, obviously related to sex and the porn industry, but we also did a lot of hard-hitting political articles and things like that.
Absolutely. So you're also an animal rights activist.
Yeah, right now I don't really do much protesting myself, but I will represent animal rights protesters pro bono. If they often get falsely accused of like trespassing or other crimes that aren't even crimes, mainly because the First Amendment protects them, and so I'll represent them.
Absolutely. And right now you're a lawyer.
Right now I do criminal defense for everybody, not just animal rights, any kind of crime, and I do private cases, and I also get appointed by the court to represent indigent defendants if there's a conflict of interest with the public defender.
So you'd be like the guy, okay, good, they gave me a good lawyer this time.
Yeah, sometimes you'll meet with a client in lockup, and they'll be all excited that you're not a public defender, but a lot of the public defenders are really good. So it's kind of a misnomer. A lot of clients, I don't want a public pretender. They work for the DA. They're not working for the DA. They really are fighting for them. Just like private attorneys are good ones, bad ones, same with public defenders. So I always tell people, don't stay with a public defender because they're a public defender.
So you could end up with a really good public defender or just a really bad one. It really just varies.
Right, and the same is true of private attorneys. So yeah.
Absolutely. So let's get into the governor's race. So as you said, there's 45 candidates, 46 if you count the guy with the heart attack. I guess that's a very, very large race.
Yes. Although in 2003 there were 135 candidates, I believe, in the recall election.
Oh, so there's a recall election in 2003 as well. Okay.
Right. That's how Arnold Schwarzenegger became governor of California.
And maybe this will be how you'll become governor of California.
Yeah, me and Arnold, we've been following pretty similar career paths, so could be.
Okay. So what's your platform basically? So if you get in there, what's the first thing you want to work on?
Well, I want to work on systemic things. So I've been promoting ranked choice voting.
Okay.
And also proportional government. But ranked choice voting would allow you to rank your choices. So you'd put your first choice first, second choice second, and so on. And then if your first choice didn't win, then all their votes would go to your second choice. So basically, like let's say, I don't know if you remember the 2000 election with Al Gore and
absolutely
George W. Bush. So there are more than 3 candidates, but basically a lot of people blamed Ralph Nader for splitting the Democratic vote. If you had ranked choice voting back then, people who wanted to vote for Ralph Nader could do so. They didn't have to worry about splitting the vote. They put Ralph Nader first, then Al Gore if they liked Al Gore better than George W. Bush. And then if Ralph Nader was the third leader, all the votes would go to the second person. So most of them would have gone to Al Gore, and he would have easily won the election. Now Pat Buchanan, I think, ran, and his votes might have gone to George W. Bush. But so it lets you vote for who you really want to vote for, not who you think might be the lesser two evils. You don't have to play games with your vote.
So here's the other thing. Someone like a Ralph Nader might actually be able to win in a scenario where people are not so worried about voting for him. Maybe enough people actually, I like that guy, I'm gonna vote for him because it doesn't matter. and then you
exactly.
win the election.
Right, because more people would also vote for other, maybe right-wing candidates. That would make the Republican vote smaller, probably, and so everybody would get it'd be more even. And yeah, a third party candidate or minor party candidate could actually win. I mean, they'd have to win in every state, not every state, but enough states to become president. But in a statewide election, it would be great, because now what they have in California, we have a top two system. So what happens is they have the primary, and then the top two, unless someone gets 50% or more, the top two do a runoff. So often in California, the top two are Democrats, because the Democratic Party is pretty strong here.
That's true, but the Green Party is also pretty strong in California. You guys got a bunch of people elected in 2020, if I remember correctly.
I don't, maybe in local elections, but
in local elections.
Yeah, we haven't gotten anybody statewide election in California yet, and so that would be huge.
I know there was a mayor elected in California with the Greens.
Oh, right. Yeah, the mayor of he's actually been helping me a lot on my campaign.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, Michael Feinstein. He was the mayor of Santa Monica.
Is he currently the mayor there? I forget.
No, and I think the way they do it there is they do this in West Hollywood too, is that their people are city council members, and they kind of rotate who the mayor is. So I think your city council and mayor, like, just gets rotated kind of.
So you're saying, so in California, the Greens have proven they can win local races. Now you have to prove that you can win a gubernatorial race. Now, this is a little bit different than if you were running in a traditional race. You don't have to get a majority of the vote, because there's 45 candidates. You have to get a plurality of the vote. Am I wrong?
Correct. So you could theoretically, with 45 people, you could theoretically win with 3% of the vote. If everyone else got like 2%, or I'm not doing the math exactly right, but or even less, because not everyone, because Newsom's telling everybody don't even vote on the second question. So there could be 10 million people vote on the first question, and let's say just under 5 million want to keep Newsom, and just over 5 million want to replace Newsom. So that could win by 51%, and he would have stayed under 49%. And then if everyone's ignoring it, let's say only 1 million people vote, and you only need a tenth of that. So you could theoretically win with like less than 1% of the vote, technically. I mean, it's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to be more like 10%, 15%.
So I'm trying to put, now how progressive would you say California is a pretty progressive state, or at least the voters rather?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe the voters are actually more progressive than even Newsom. I think just people vote Democratic because they don't want the Republican to win. So again, that's why they just vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm actually campaigning against the recall. I don't think Newsom should be recalled. I'm one of the few candidates that said you should vote no. But then, unlike Newsom, I'm saying you should vote for somebody, and I'm saying me, just in case it goes through. So otherwise, the way it looks now, at least according to the polls, Larry Elder's in the lead. So I don't know why everyone who's voting no should get behind me or get behind someone progressive. Otherwise, if it goes through, it's going to be Governor Elder, which I think will be a disaster.
Absolutely. I know the libertarians love him.
Some do, yeah, I guess.
I know. So I know you recently went on Brianna Joy Gray's show, Bad Faith, with some of the other lefty candidates.
Right.
What do you think the divide is between the lefty candidates? Do you have any? I'm sure there aren't any polls about how many supporters each of you have. What do you think? Where you are?
Yeah, I mean, right now on the polls I've seen, I'm not sure. It seems like we're pretty much all around 1%, the lower, the lefty candidates. But but it's not that. I mean, it's bad, obviously, if Elder's at like 15 or something, but it's not much with swinging. I don't know if the polls are really capturing everybody, so.
Probably not. Now,
yeah.
I want to pull up, I have right here the presidential primary results.
Okay.
For 2020. The 2020 election in California. I want to so Bernie Sanders got 36% of the vote.
Okay.
Elizabeth Warren got 13.2. So those are the majority of voters voted between Sanders and Warren in your state. Joe Biden came in second, but that's probably just because he was with Obama. But it really
What
seems
Biden
like
get?
Biden here, he got, it looks like 24%, 36% for Sanders, 27.9 for Biden, 13.2 for Warren, and somehow Bloomberg got 12% in your state.
Oh wow.
Which
So
is
yeah, there you go. That just shows you. Like, I mean, I think the majority of people are left of Biden, left of Newsom, who's basically kind of that same kind of mold, traditional Democrat. So yeah, I think I do. That's why I believe that I would be more in tune with the people of California, and also those other left leaning. I don't know if you want to be. There's a Socialist Worker Party. I don't know if everyone wants to join them during that debate. And then there's a guy, the California First Party, and they want to ultimately secede from the union. I don't think most people are in favor of that. So I think I actually am the most in tune with the majority of voters.
Right, that's that. Cause I saw that segment, and there was a guy advocating for leaving, and that was great. But yeah. So let's assume that voters voted with their conscience and voted who they thought was best. It seems to me you would get 2.7 million votes.
Oh well, that'd be great. If I think I'd win the election if I got 2.7 million votes, because I think there'll only be. Are you talking about? Are you using it 40 million as your number? How many voters are you counting for that?
I'm counting the voters who voted for Sanders and Warren, assuming left of center voters.
Oh, okay, but I'm saying 2.7 million out of what? Out of 10 million? Out of 20 million?
Out of probably something. Well, 2.7 million. Well, Biden got 1.6 million. Bloomberg got 700,000.
Oh, I see. Yeah, but more people vote in presidential elections than they're going to vote in this
That's true.
special election.
You even got 500,000 votes in an election.
That would be huge. Well, in the 2003 recall, and this is different. About 10 million people voted. Arnold Schwarzenegger actually got like 49%, and the anti-recall vote only got 46%. So he actually did get more than the recall. That's not going to happen this time. Arnold Schwarzenegger, super famous, popular guy at the time.
Well, of course,
it's a different scenario. Well, I think you're right. I would get I think I would get a huge percentage of the vote, except for the mainstream media isn't really interviewing me. Even like the local public radio, they're only having like John Cox and some of these Kevin Faulkner and some of these people that have more money and more mainstream. So
you definitely need to get that media attention.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody knows who I am or what I believe in, and I think if everyone did and they voted their conscience, I think I would do very well.
Absolutely, but we've seen third-party governors before. One time in 1999 with Jesse Van Sora, time, literally one time. Like I'm trying to say, we've seen it multiple times. The only other thing I can say is in Vermont, the lieutenant governor is from the Vermont Progressive Party.
Oh, okay.
He did
what
lose.
What party is Ventura from? Was he from the Reform Party or?
He was from the Reform Party movement.
Yeah.
The Reform Party a year after he became governor.
He join it afterwards?
He was there when he was the mayor of Brooklyn Park, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
He was one of their first victories, and then a year after he was governor, he left the party. That party. They kind of died off.
Yeah. I mean, it could happen. I mean, it definitely could happen. I think a really popular person, even for president, people are saying Colin Powell at the time, he was real popular, a while ago. If he would have ran as a independent, he could have maybe won. If you get someone really popular with a lot of name recognition, I think that could happen.
Absolutely. So let's get to some policy. I know that there's a bill in the California state legislature for CalCare. What are your stance on that?
Well, yeah, I want Medicare for all. I want single payer healthcare. The taxes will go up a little bit, but you're gonna save way more money in the long run. I mean, I have covered California. it's insane how expensive it is. I think that's what cost Hillary the election, actually, because I think everyone's right before that election, at least my rates skyrocketed. I think a lot of people's rates, I think people weren't happy with the way Obamacare actually played out because the rates are insane.
Absolutely. So what would be your top, the first three things you would do? Let's say you win the race, you go in for your first day, sit down at your desk. What are the first three things you're doing?
Well, that's one of them. I can't unilaterally do it. I'm the governor, not the dictator of California, but I would tell I let the legislature know, because they've passed it before when there's Republican governors. They just, for some reason, don't pass it when there's Democrat
That sounds
governors.
convenient.
That what?
That sounds very convenient.
Yeah, so I would say, look, I'd use the bully pulpit, and I say, look, I will sign this. I will not veto this. Pass it, do it. Let's do it. Let's get it done. I would propose some kind of ranked choice voting thing, either as, I don't know if the legislature would go for it, but you could even do it as an initiative. I would immediately pardon people that were wrongfully convicted, that have been stuck in prison way too long, that have been recommended for parole, but for some reason governors don't want to let them out because it's unpopular and they're too worried about their careers as politicians. And I would, and there's four things. I mean, everyone I talked to when I was getting signatures and everything, I mean, everyone is talking about homelessness, and we have the money. We've gotten tons of money to do it. We've got to spend it correctly. I don't know where this money's going, because we've gotten billions and billions of dollars allocated for this, and the problem's getting worse and worse.
Very possible money funneling in some of these bills.
Yeah,
like it's written for this, but you don't see the fine print here, or actually 70% of it goes here.
Right. And there's all these bills for like developers, and so they can build their big condo buildings easier, and then have maybe one or two affordable housing. It's there's not more affordable housing, and there's more and more of these hideous condominiums like all in Los Angeles.
I come from New York. We had Mayor Bloomberg, who loved to work with the developers. And when he worked with the developers, that's exactly what you got. And he'd be like, I work with the developers. And
yeah, you got to work with the people, or people who actually work with the people, and give the people what they need. And some people are going to need services. They're going to have to build actual housing that for people that are going to need, like mental health services, drug addiction services, and getting jobs. And I mean, the first thing I do is get people in housing, because you can't it's almost impossible to get a job if you're on the street. So
you would do housing. Okay.
What?
So would you build apartment buildings? Would you build actual houses? What would be your plan there?
Yeah, probably it's cheaper to build apartment buildings, I guess, or transform buildings and things, than to build houses for every single person. But with the money they have, they almost could build a house for every single person.
Well, in theory, what you could do is, I'm sure there's plenty of abandoned properties in California.
Well, that's true too.
So you could, in theory, I'm assuming the state can do eminent domain.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of eminent domain, especially because it's usually used to help the big money people to.
Well, you could use it in a different way. Let's say
right.
There's a big house, a 3-bedroom house in LA that's been dormant for the last 20 years. Nobody owns it. You say we're taking this house and we're converting. We're to give it to some homeless people.
Right. We could do that with the governor's mansion. We could let a bunch of homeless people live in there. I don't need to live there.
So not all the mayors have mayor's mansions. Not all the governors don't have to have governor's mansions either.
That's true.
So do you have
any? Yeah, I agree with you. You could take. I mean, there's so many empty. I mean, there's a lot of people who invest in property. I think in San Francisco, it's really a problem where there's like tons of empty apartments. People are just holding them, hoping to flip them, or so we got to do something. Or you can subsidize it. You can help the landlords, let people, they have that here a little bit, Section 8 housing where the government subsidize people lower income. I mean, you could do stuff like that too, so the landlords aren't totally.
Exactly. The issue I've seen with that is New York does something with a voucher program, but the landlords, a lot of them don't like vouchers, and the vouchers are not enough because I'm sure New York, just like California, is one of the most expensive states to live in. So if you get a voucher for $1,200, it's not really going to help you that much.
I saw a idea recently about making a work program for watching over foreclosed homes, so that we are providing the bank with essentially live-in maintenance for all the homes that are under foreclosure that don't have occupants.
Yeah,
I forget who suggested it, but it was somebody influential. I can't remember. I don't know how well that would
was
work,
a big
but
problem in like 2008 when the whole foreclosure or mortgage meltdown happened. There were all these places that they're just kicking people out, and then the house would become ruined, and then it ruined the whole neighborhood and everything. Then the prices would go down, and then they'd be underwater, and it's just this domino effect. And that would have really helped something like that back then. We have someone, at least keeping up the property until they sold it. But I don't know if there's enough of that that would.
Yeah. So a couple more. Do you have any endorsements currently?
I'm endorsed by the Green Party of California and by some local Green parties. I haven't really sought. I'm sure I could have got other endorsements and stuff. I mean, probably should have. There hasn't been. It's been a real truncated election cycle. We were told on July. I know that it's like the Thursday before July 4th that we had to get our paperwork that Friday, turn it in like the next week. I mean, it was great. They purposely sort of did it to try to suppress the candidates, have less candidates, I think, because they could have had. I thought it was going to be in November. We'd have a lot more time to build a grassroots campaign. The Democrats really shoved it forward. I think because at the time people were in pretty good mood about California because everyone thought COVID was over. Everyone's vaccinated. They were saying you don't need a mask if you're vaccinated in any stores. And so I think for like about a week, everyone was really kind of optimistic. And then that's when they decided when the election was, and they thought that'd be a good time for Newsom because they didn't want like more bad things happening before the election. So we had, I didn't really have time to raise money. I decided I'm not going to even raise money. It's not even worth it because you have to raise at least enough to even hire people to deal with it. So it's almost not even worth it. But
so do you have a campaign staff at all or volunteers?
I have volunteers, yeah, but it's been a real grassroots type of thing. If I don't win, which is possible, I may run for the Green Party has talked about it possibly that I might run for Attorney General for the Green Party.
So you're not going to be done running even if you lose?
Probably not. I haven't decided for sure if I have an exploratory committee checking out the scene for AG.
Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody that when somebody says they have an exploratory committee, I don't want to. That usually means there's a 99.3% chance they're going to run.
That's a good point.
You saw.
You didn't hear it here first. What?
All the presidential candidates. We got our exploratory committees. We're not sure if we're going to run.
Well, I loved it when Dick Cheney, he was in charge of picking the vice president candidate, and he decided to pick himself as he thought he was the best candidate.
You might be interested in Aaron Brockovich has a Substack, and there's like no one following it, which I find ridiculous. Right, but I think she's started a new thing on breast implants. All I remember is she titled it "They're Called Boobs, Ed," and that was it. So I suggest people go look at Aaron Brockovich's Substack. You can spell that last name, but it's very similar to trying to spell your last name. So.
Oh right, yeah, it's pretty hard.
Speaking of which, I have a nameplate underneath you at Kapelovitz for Gov. They're on Twitter. If people want to go find you on there.
Yeah, it's Kapelovitz 4, the number 4, and then Gov.
I only say Kapelovitz because that's how I had to remember to spell it. Kapelovitz.
Oh, okay. Well, that's okay.
You know, but
that's
just for
people,
me.
Yeah, people always mispronounce it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Was gonna. I got I mean, you probably don't know who Harvey Sid Fisher is, do you?
I do not. I can look it up.
He's like a singer. He's famous because he had this album of astrology songs, but he actually.
Oh, I know who he is. Yeah.
Oh, you do? He wrote a campaign song for me.
Really?
So I guess he's endorsed me with the campaign song.
That's
and
nice.
Yeah. So I mean,
and I gotta ask you about your slogan.
Oh, can you dig it?
Yeah.
Yes. So we didn't have to, but if you wanted to put something in the pamphlet statement, you had to, you actually had to send a blank check to the Secretary of State that said up to $6,250 because they charged you $25 a word up to 250 words. So I wanted to keep it short. So I spent $100 and I put, can you dig it? And I like it. I'm getting a lot of positive feedback. I get calls all day long from people. Can you dig it? Or I can dig it. Or I want to ask you a question. Can you dig it? Things like that. And I get some people say, why'd you do that? You wasted your that space in the pamphlet. But I think overall it's about 10-1 positive to negative.
Yep.
And I like it because it's
I'll
not
just,
right now,
okay. When I was going through high school during that election process, right? It was right around the first Obama election, right? The only slogan I remember was these kids out of a pickup truck with, the American flag behind them, like, I mean, straight up, like, looked like who would have a Trump flag on there now, right? But all they were blaring out of their, like, speaker system of the truck was "Don't be a hater, vote Ralph Nader." And that's the only one I remember. So I think if you've got slogans like that people can just say, like,
well, what
I
keep pointing out, I keep pointing out now, Obama, he had that poster, hope. That's one word. It's also very vague. It could mean anything.
Yep.
Hope for what? Hope for World War III? No, obviously. And can you dig it? It can be anything, but obviously hope.
Hopefully they ask what you're digging, and that that makes them curious and go look you up. So,
and I didn't make up the expression. It's been throughout pop culture forever. I mean, it's most famous probably from The Warriors. I don't know if you've seen that film.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's famous. And actually, a friend of mine was just at a convention where they have where like celebrities, you get autographs, like Comic-Con type thing. But there's one where all the Warriors were there, and she showed him my campaign slogan. She's supposed to get an autograph, but I don't think it happened. But
nice
so even the Warriors know about it.
Nice of the Warriors to come out and play every once in a while, So.
All right.
But
yeah. So. And there's a monkey song called "Can You Dig It?" And now I'm getting people keep sending me all kinds of songs I never heard of from like the 60s and 70s and 80s.
Yeah, I mean Don Cornelius used to say it a bunch, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. But I guess Shaq is saying. I didn't even know Shaq says it a lot. But I guess he says it a lot now.
Right. Well,
definitely, yeah. So
we're right at 10:30, boys, here on the East Coast. So
yeah,
if you
absolutely, yes. So I just want to go ahead and let you do your final statement. So, what would you say to the people of California right now who may be watching this or may watch this later about the election, about you, about everything?
I'd say vote no on the recall and vote for me on the second question. Don't ignore it. Don't throw away your vote. A vote not for me is a vote for Larry Elder, basically, or it's going to give him a larger percentage. So if he does get elected, he's going to claim some kind of mandate. And vote for Kapelovitz just for the hell of it. Can you dig it?
And then my last question is, a lot of people in California that I know are thinking, if I vote no on the recall, I can't vote on question 2. And everybody's like, just vote no on the recall because then we're going to get Larry Elder. That's what people in California are saying.
Yeah, because Newsom's doing this misinformation campaign. He's actually saying, vote no in this. He's not saying you can't, because that'd be obviously a lie. But even like Sarah Silverman's like, vote no and just forget the rest. It's like these people are just are brainwashed by this misinformation campaign, there is no reason to throw away your vote. You don't have to vote for me. Vote for a Democrat or a Libertarian. Vote for whoever you want to vote for, but why throw it away? It's just, it doesn't hurt Newsom at all. So it's almost like he's like a little baby that doesn't want anyone but him to get vote. It's really, I mean, I'm saying vote no, but I'm not a big fan of Newsom, especially the way he's doing this campaign. Maybe, I mean, his handlers probably told him this was a good strategy because, Gray Davis lost and everyone is blaming it because the lieutenant governor ran, and they said, well, that made it have legitimacy. So I think now they're just trying to make it a Trump recall, or, they don't realize a lot of the candidates are more progressive than Newsom. They don't want people to realize that.
Now, where can people find you?
They can go to Kapelovitz.com. I know it's hard to spell, but there it is. And they can go on Twitter, as we said, Kapelovitz, the number 4 gov. And if you just Google, I'm the Green, there's 2 Green Party candidates. I'm one of them. So you'll be able to figure me out. Just vote for the Green Party candidate with the longest name. And you got me. And I'm the only one endorsed by the Green Party.
Sounds perfect.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Mr. Kapelovitz.
Kapelovitz, yeah. Thank you. It's been fun. It's gone by quickly.
It did.
Yes,
everybody check him out.
Like and subscribe to KRTD. Find us on all our socials at KRTD Media. And I think that's KRTD out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What does that stand for?
Kerberos Roundtable Discussion. Yeah, Kerberos is a networking protocol. It's you and the other 2 heads of the dog are the only things involved in that network, right? So